Well, today, for the first time in almost a decade, our top spy agency has increased Australia's terror threat level. But the terrorists targeting us are changing, and stopping them could be harder than ever.
ASIO has decided to return Australia's national terrorism threat level from possible to probable.
For the first time in 10 years, the national threat level has gone up.
Our decision reflects the degrading security environment. A threat level of probable means we assess there is a greater than 50% chance of an onshore attack or planning in the next 12 months.
Unlike 2014, when the raised level was a direct response to the terrorist group ISIS, the threat here is less specific.
As polarisation, frustration and perceived injustices grow, ASIO anticipates an increase in politically motivated violence, including terrorism.
And the threat homegrown.
More Australians are embracing a more diverse range of extreme ideologies, and more Australians are willing to use violence to advance their cause.
The ASIO chief cited the October 7 attack in Israel, saying that while the attack itself did not present a danger to Australia, the polarisation and rhetoric in the wake of that event and the hostilities in Gaza were at its heart.
The conflict has fuelled grievances, promoted protest, exacerbated division, undermined social cohesion, and elevated intolerance.
But they warned the causes stretch beyond that, citing conspiracy theories and the eroding trust in institutions made worse during COVID.
Extremist ideologies, conspiracies, misinformation are flourishing in the online ecosystem, and young Australians are particularly vulnerable.
But despite the ominous warning, there was also reassurance.
Probable does not mean inevitable.
It does not mean that there is any imminent threat.
It does not mean that we have intelligence about a current attack planning or an expectation of an imminent attack.
So with the message that the threat is increased but the danger isn't immediate, what exactly can we expect?
Well, joining us now is Deakin University Professor Greg Barton. Greg, we've moved from possible to probable. What's the difference there?
Well, just to recap, we've got 5 levels from expected through to, not expected at all. We've gone from 2 to 3. The next level that could happen would be specific intelligence. So it's not that there's a particular plot in mind. It's just that the workload in the background is enormous. There's a lot of different threats from lots of different angles. And it's got to a tipping point where the public's got to be alerted. That press conference we saw today, it really felt like there was a lot that they were trying to avoid saying. What do you think they weren't telling us? Well, they're not telling us their sources. They're not telling us what's, made them get to this tipping point, because that would be giving away information which compromises their operations. But I think also they want us to understand it's not just one thing. So Gaza was mentioned, but it's not just Gaza. Far right was mentioned, but there's also this mixed motive thing where people have fixation with neo-Nazi ideas, but also with strange conspiracy theories, and perhaps even simultaneously admiration for Islamic State. So it's a complicated, messy situation, and I think they didn't want us to walk away saying, oh, well, it's just this one group that's the problem. No, it's actually everything all at once.
Greg, you mentioned conspiracy theories. How much is social media driving much of this?
Good point, Steve. I mean, social media, not just generally people consuming sort of rubbish on social media, but actual disinformation campaigns linked to states like Russia or potentially Iran. That seemed to be at play in the weekend in the UK, that disinformation operations linked to some sites that appear to have Russian connections were stoking the fires. So not just, misinformation, but disinformation. And we depend so much on social media. We live increasingly in social media bubbles. So that's a vulnerability.
Greg, you said there was a situation where the public had to know. This might be a dumb question, but why do we need to know? How can we change our behaviours? What are we supposed to do when we hear this from ASIO?
Well, Sam, that old adage, if you see something, say something. It sounds trite, but it's true. If you see somebody walk away from a suitcase at an airport or a train station, don't assume that somebody else is going to speak up. I think that's part of the takeaway. But also, unfortunately, a lot of us have family members who we're concerned about who could do something really rash and stupid. And the message here is get help, get somebody to assess their situation. Don't just hope it gets better. If you think that they could do something dangerous, and we've heard it with these teenagers involved in attacks in recent months, for heaven's sake, seek help now rather than just wishing that it's going to go away. So be alert but not alarmed. Greg Barton, thanks for your time tonight. Thank you.